After helping hundreds of non-technical entrepreneurs build and launch their no-code apps, we've picked up on 5 specific traits that are really good indicators of their success. And in this video, I'm going to tell you exactly what those 5 traits are so you can have the best chance of success with your no-code app and business too. Stick around until the end because trait number 5 is probably the absolute most important of them all. Hey, it's Kristen over at Coaching No Code Apps. We help non-technical entrepreneurs build custom apps so they can start their app-based businesses or grow their existing businesses all without coding. And if that's what you're doing, then subscribe for new videos to help you every single week. Success trait number 1. They have a really good balance of being a visionary while also being an integrator. Lots of people building no-code apps are solo founders, and so in the beginning, at least, they have to wear lots of different hats. A visionary is someone who sees the big picture of the app and of the business, and the integrator is the person who makes everything happen in order to reach that big picture or that vision. Now, when you only have the visionary trying to build the app, then there are lots of lofty goals and ideas and tons of planning, but that type of person often struggles to get out of the planning mode and actually do the work to reach the goal. On the flip side, when you have only the integrator, then there's not that big picture vision that provides the definitive direction they need to go in with their development. And without having any sort of direction, there's just lots of development, lots of building with the app or with the business, but with no real significant outcome. So you have to really have a balance between the two, again, especially if you're a solo founder in the beginning. And when you can balance those out, you can have that big picture vision, which provides you with the direction you need to go in. But then you can step back and actually do the work of the integrator to reach that big picture vision. Success trait number 2, this type of successful app entrepreneur is an absolute sponge. They're not just looking for quick ways to build their app or to kind of copy and paste from a tutorial or just, follow what they're seeing and replicate it exactly within their apps. They really want to understand why they're doing what they're doing and actually how it's happening, what's going on behind the scenes, what's happening under the hood of the development, because they understand when you have that information, then not only can you build what you're aiming to build in the moment, but you can control it afterwards. And you can replicate that same type of functionality, for example, within different use cases. And that all enables control over your app. And this type of successful app entrepreneur wants that control. They don't want to be stuck to following tutorials all the time or being completely reliant on developers to help them. They want control over their apps and their businesses. So they become sponges and they absorb the right information at the right times and they put it to use all along the way so that they can develop the skill set, develop the understanding, and have that control. Success trait number 3, this type of successful app entrepreneur takes full ownership over what they're trying to accomplish. Now, this is a little bit of tough love here, but a lot of people step into the no-code space, think it's going to be really easy to build and launch an app, but quickly realize that it actually takes commitment and work to put a custom product out into the world. The successful app entrepreneur realizes that it's up to them to do the work to actually achieve the end result that they're after. They understand that the work is hard, the work is time consuming, but on the other side, that result is worth the effort they're putting in now. I see people really struggle when they aren't able to take ownership over what they're trying to do. So they come up against obstacles and they think, well, I can't do this because X. I can't do this because Y. I don't have a technical background. I don't have the right skill set, or I don't have the time, or, whatever it is. These successful app entrepreneurs are also very busy people. They have lots of different commitments and priorities, but at the end of the day, they take full ownership over being the ones who have to make their app a priority if they actually want to be successful with it. So you really can't make excuses when you're trying to do something like this. Again, that's said with maybe a little bit of tough love, but mostly love. You got to take ownership over what you want to accomplish. Success trait number 4, the successful app entrepreneur is very consistent. This is a really big one because building an app, building any type of business requires a lot of consistency. It's kind of like trying to get into shape. If you go to the gym once or maybe twice a month and you expect to, lose weight or be able to run a marathon on the other side, it's not going to happen because the consistency isn't there. You have to put in the reps in order to build the muscle or develop that fitness. It's the same with development. If you go into your app and you start learning development skills, if you don't consistently put those to use, then every time you come into your app, you're going to have to refresh yourself on what you've even done in the app up to this point. You're really going to have to be constantly trying to relearn skills. If you go to the gym once a month and you do a weightlifting session, every single time it's going to feel just as hard. Again, same exact thing with your app. And it's not just consistency with the skill set and learning it, but you have to consistently make the time to build your app and your business too, because it's really hard to put a product out there and successfully launch or grow a business when, maybe you spend an entire weekend on it and you feel really good about that, but you don't go back into your app for another 2 weeks. There's just not enough time when you do it that way. You kind of have to make it a rule, and the most successful app entrepreneurs do exactly that. Just like if you're trying to train for a marathon and you don't want to get up early to run every day before you go to work, but you have to make it a rule, set your alarm, put your clothes on the floor, whatever the heck you need to do to get out there, you make it a rule. You got to do the same with your app. Make it a rule. Spending time on your app is a rule. You don't have a lot of time, you have other priorities, you have a job, you have a life, and all of that. So you have to make it a rule. If the app is secondary to everything, in other words, everything else comes first and you find time for your app after everything else, it's never going to happen. And success trait number 5, and again, this is the one I think is most important. The most successful app entrepreneurs are really passionate about what they're building, why they're building it, who they're building it for, and what it's going to be helping those people do. So, you might be building a no-code app so that you can create a side revenue stream for yourself. Maybe eventually you want to leave your full-time job and transition over to your app full-time. And that's a really good goal to have. But if you're not passionate about your app idea, maybe you just kind of picked it out of the barrel because, again, you have these personal goals, you're going to really struggle. Thinking back to the consistency, being a sponge and making sure that you're developing a skill set, putting in the time, coming up against obstacles and, pushing your way through them with curiosity rather than letting them set you back with frustration. All of those things, getting through all of that is really hard if you don't have any passion for what you're doing. But if you care about what the product is going to be helping people do or achieve with their lives or with their businesses, then all of those obstacles or even all of the more mundane points of development, they're going to be worth it and they're going to feel worth it. So if you don't have a passion for actually what you're building, why you're building it, who you're building it for, then I encourage you to really think about that. The personal goals you have are important, but ultimately, it's the impact that you're making that's going to keep you pushing forward consistently over the long run. Now, if hearing this and thinking through it is getting you really excited to move forward with your app, then I want you to head to coachingnocodeapps.com/workshop, which is a deep dive training that's going to walk you through all of the steps you need to be thinking about right now to become that successful no code app entrepreneur. From everything to strategizing about your app idea, creating a development roadmap, thinking through the tools that you're going to be using, learning how to actually start using them, seeing what other entrepreneurs, non-technical entrepreneurs have built and launched, right? Those are the things that we're going to walk you through in this really extensive training. It's over at coachingnocodeapps.com/workshop. And if you want to become that successful no code app entrepreneur, that's where you need to head next. All right, if this video was helpful for you, give it a like down below, subscribe if you're not already, and we can't wait to see you in the next one.